In this video, I want to talk about my favorite features in Cubase Pro. Now, I've been using Cubase for over 10 years and honestly never felt the need to change to any other DAW. Now, one reason for this is because it packs so many features, but most importantly, the workflow and how it implements those features, in my opinion, is second to none. I am aware some, if not most, of what I'm about to talk through in this video, you can do on other DAWs, Pro Tools, Logic, Ableton, whatever. But for me, the way that Cubase implements these features is key, and it's the main reason that I've stuck with Cubase for so long. So let's dive in and take a look. Okay, so I've got a session open here. This is a tracking session for a pop rock song that I've been working on. Everything is completely raw, it's unmixed. We've just got a static rough mix, rough balance going on at the moment. Now, I remember when VariAudio first came out in Cubase 5 so many years ago, and I was so excited. I couldn't afford Melodyne at the time, so I was buzzing to have this feature built into Cubase. And it was really good, but it was nowhere near as good as Melodyne. However, it has come a long, long way since it was first introduced, and particularly over these last couple of versions, Cubase 11, 12, now 13, I no longer feel the need to use Melodyne. I did switch to Melodyne when I could afford to buy the plugin, but nowadays I just find myself needing it less and less because VariAudio is so good. So let's take a listen to this vocal. It's completely raw, straight off the mic, no tuning, nothing on it at all.
Do we even know the way? Please guide me through the wind and rain. 'Cause in truth we will find our way to follow our dreams.
Okay, so there's clearly a few issues with that vocal. I love the energy, the pronunciation, the timing is all great. However, there are some tuning issues. It's flat and we just need to make it sound professional. So once we're in VariAudio, it looks very similar to Melodyne with lots of similar features. We can grab the notes, we can move them to wherever we want, we can chop them, we can straighten them, we can even time align them if we want. But most importantly, the results that you can get are very natural. So let's take a listen to this same vocal passage that's been tuned with VariAudio.
Do we even know the way? Please guide me through the wind and rain. 'Cause in truth we will find our way to follow our dreams.
Can instantly hear that sounds so much better. Put a little bit of reverb on it, put the doubles in that have also been tuned with VariAudio. This is what we're getting.
Do we even know the way? Please guide me through the wind and rain. 'Cause in truth we will find our way to follow our dreams.
One area that I do just kind of feel that Melodyne pips VariAudio to the post is with its ability to straighten out notes, to straighten out pitch wobble or vibratos. It's very, very good in VariAudio, and like I said, it's come a long way. But right now, I still think Melodyne does that just a little bit better. But in every other aspect, they're pretty well matched. Now, the second feature that I love using in Cubase is the alignment tool, and I use this all of the time for aligning vocal stacks. Now, Revoice is a tool that is incredible at doing this. There's probably nothing better. However, it is a pricey piece of software. This tool built into Cubase does an excellent job without having to fork out for Revoice. Now, the way that it works is you click this icon up here, the audio alignment panel, and we choose a track that we're going to use as the reference. So for this, I'm going to use the lead vocal as my reference. Now, all of these down here, so these are the doubles, we've got a left and a right, and then we've got harmonies. These are high harmonies, these are low harmonies. It's really important that the doubles and all of the harmonies are aligned with that lead vocal. All that we do is we highlight the track that we want to align with the reference, add it into the target, and then we just click this align audio button. And it's job done. Go through all of the others, do the exact same thing, and they're all perfectly aligned. Take a listen to how these sound.
'Cause in truth we will find our way to follow our dreams. So please believe when I say it will be okay.
That sounds super tight, and for any sort of modern productions, this is going to be a lifesaver, and it's built right into Cubase. There's no need to fork out for third-party software like Revoice unless you really, really want to. Now, another feature that I use a lot in Cubase is something called hit point detection, and this is useful when you want to quantize instruments. I use it a lot for bass guitar. Now, as you can see in this session, I've got 3 bass guitars. It's made up of a DI, and then there's 2 amps. There's an 87 microphone on the amp, and then a 57 microphone on the amp, all recording the same source. And I want to make sure that I'm editing all of these together. So we can hit this button here, which is called the group editing function. And when that's enabled, anything that I do to one of these tracks, it will do to them all. So I'm going to go into the DI. I'm going to make sure I'm in this hit points mode, and I'm going to click on edit hit points. What Cubase then does is it analyzes the audio, and it can see every time a note is played. Now, in my experience, it doesn't do this perfectly every time. You are going to have to go in and do some manual editing, but you can get pretty close just using this manual threshold and the intensity function as well. But if it misses any, or if it doubles up on some, then you can just manually edit the hit points yourself. So we can see that it's missed a couple here. I'm just going to go and manually put those in. If it's doubled up on any, so like here, I can just take those out and just go through the audio until we've got all of the hit points on all of the notes. What we can then do is slice the audio at every single hit point, and then using this quantize panel, we can move each hit point to the nearest note, and we can set it to the 8th note, quarter note, 16th, whatever we need for this particular song. You can even set the quantized strength, so if you don't want it to be 100% on the note, you can set it to 70%, 60%. If you want it a little bit looser and a little bit more natural sounding. I love using this to get the bass guitar super tight with the drums, and they just sound really locked together, which is the perfect foundation for any song. This one's already been done. Take a listen to how well the bass and the drums are gelling together. Again, this is something that I rely on heavily when I'm editing sessions ready for mixing. I know Pro Tools does this really well. It's got Beat Detective, but again, I just love the way that Cubase implements the feature with the threshold. You can visually see everything. It's just really good. Now, following on from this, another feature that I use a lot, particularly when I'm mixing, is converting hit points to MIDI. So once you've got all of your hit points wherever you want, you have this function here to create MIDI notes for each of those hit points. Now, I wouldn't typically use this on bass. I would use this for creating drum samples when I'm mixing live drums. So I could go into, for example, the snare or the kick. Let's open a kick track. We set our hit points, and then we can create these MIDI notes. What this will do is it will create a MIDI note on whatever pitch we select, and we can choose the destination as well. Now, I know that when I load up my virtual instrument, that a C1 is the kick sample. So obviously I would use this to trigger kick samples. So I can just click OK. And now we have a MIDI track down here of all of those hit points. All we do then is just open any virtual drum instrument that we want, whether it's SSD5, Superior Drummer, Addictive Drums, and then we can load up a kick sample that works with the track. I then do the same for snares if I want to add some snare samples, maybe toms if I feel like the track needs it. And another great feature of this is that you can set it to preserve the original dynamics of the track as well. So any snare ghost notes, they will all be there. They'll be programmed into the MIDI track, which is really useful. Now, there are plugins such as Trigger that you can literally just load up onto a snare track and just trigger samples directly there. However, if you don't own Trigger, or you want to trigger samples that are not in that, for example, from Addictive Drums, Superior Drummer 3, then this is just a great alternative and just a different way of working. It's a super useful function. Now, if you're a singer-songwriter, or you're in a band, or releasing music in any way, shape, or form, it's very likely a goal that you have is to make money from your music and do this full time. The problem with this, as we all know, are that streaming royalties are extremely low, and you cannot rely on streaming as a viable income source, not until you're hitting a few 100,000, even millions of streams on a monthly basis. But the good news is there are many ways to monetize your music, and the artists that are doing this very, very successfully right now have multiple streams of income for the music. Some of these do require a fan base, however, there are opportunities even if your fan base is zero. Now, to help with this, I've created a free guide. It's called the Music Monetization Checklist, and it gives you a whole range of ways that you can monetize your music right now. If you've got a fan base, great. If you don't, absolutely no worries. There are still things that you can do. But crucially, if you want to make a viable income from your music, you're going to have a few different avenues rather than just relying on one stream. But this checklist gives you a whole range of them, so you can pick and choose whichever ones suit you best. So if you like what I'm talking about here, there is a link in the description below to download your free music monetization checklist. Go and check it out.